parang hindi ko makita yung ano 'no, logic kasi 'pag dinala na naman natin 'to sa private, ibig sabihin nun, malaki na naman yung kita, 'di ba? So, bakit gano'n ang MOU, Mr. Speaker? Wala ba tayong kakayanan na makipag-trade, government to government? Bakit private to private sector at ginagarantiya ng ating gobyerno through this MOU?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the desire of the Philippines is actually to have a government-to-government procurement. Unfortunately, Vietnam courses their produce and their harvest through GOCCs to the private sector. And it is something that is beyond our control. In the Philippines, the Department of Agriculture, the hands of DA is also tied because they cannot import directly from private companies. Be that as it may, the private-to-private sale, the protection of the government there is the price is actually regulated.
Why they cannot import? Our government cannot have this agreement with
We cannot buy,
with
Mr.
the
Speaker,
government.
from the private entity because Vietnam, government to government cannot, the Department of Agriculture cannot purchase rice. That's not part of their mandate. The NFA can, but it was only for local before. It's only for local. Palay, and it's only palay. And that is the reason why the rice tarification law was put forward in order for our country to have a balancing act.
So magandang gabi na po sa ating mga family, DA family, at sa ating distinguished sponsor, sa ating lahat, Mr. Speaker. So yung unang tanong ko, Mr. Speaker, gaano ba kaseryoso po ang ating gobyerno doon sa tinatawag nating food security and food stability po?
Mr. Speaker, the department and this administration is very serious on food sufficiency and agriculture, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. So, it's good to know, no, kung talagang seryoso tayo sa food security and food sufficiency. Sa panahon po ng COVID, no, noong COVID-19, so, ang isa pa rin nating patakaran noon at hanggang ngayon ay yung importation, lalong-lalo na sa bigas. At nakita natin na kahit nasa Southeast Asia, meron silang mga protective policy protective policy na kung saan hindi na sila nag-i-import ay nag-export ng bigas para ito ay sa kapakinabangan ng kanilang mga mamamayan. So tayo po ba may kakayahan na gano'n, no? Alam ko, kanina pinag-uusapan yung importation ng bigas at hanggang ngayon, malaki pa rin yung ini-import nating volume ng bigas sa iba't ibang mga bansa, lalong-lalo na dito sa Southeast Asia. So kung talagang seryoso tayo sa food stability at saka food sufficiency, dapat ay nababawasan ang mga importation. Tama po ba ako, Mr. Speaker?
Well, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, that is our aspiration. And we believe we can come to that. As of the moment, admittedly, we cannot export rice and palay yet. We are importing 20% of our consumption, but that is a lot better compared to previous years, considering the increase in consumption and the increase in population, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, oo, tama nga no. Nag-i-increase ang population natin, lumiliit yung ating mga agricultural lands, dumadami yung ating mga ini-import, at yung production ay napapabayaan o yung local production ay hindi siya kumbaga priority. So
Well,
in the
hindi
global
naman, Mr. Speaker, the local production is actually increasing. That is why what we are importing is just 20% of the demand. There's increase in rice production. However, the 11.5% increase in consumption is actually what is bothering us. No? Pero nakikita naman natin na talagang nabigyang tuon at nabigyang pansin siya dahil bumababa yung actual quantity ng ating ini-import.
Okay, ulit nga po, Mr. Speaker, ilan po yung from 2020, so ilang metric tons po ng bigas yung ini-import natin para makita natin kung gaano talaga katotoo yung sinasabi ng ating distinguished sponsor na bumababa ang ating importasyon ng bigas. In fact, nung report kagabi sa news, sobra-sobra yung ating importation. Diba? So may mga ganun sobra-sobra yung ating importation doon sa pangailangan. Kaya pwede ba po bang malaman ilan pong metric tons ang ini-import natin mula 2020 hanggang sa recent?
Million. So for this year, Mr. Speaker, we are importing 3 million metric tons of rice. Prior to this, it was at 3.5 million metric tons. And the year prior to that is 3.8 million metric tons.
Noong 2020 po, 2024,
2020, we were not importing because of the pandemic. Mr. 1 minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
import during pandemic.
Session suspended. Session resumed.
So, Mr. Speaker, for 2022, 3,868,914 metric tons. For 2023, it's 3,611,024 metric tons. And for 2024, it's somewhere around 3 million metric tons. 20.
Okay, so yung 3 million, so importation, how about yung sabi nyo, lumalaki yung ating
The demand?
agri-production. Sabi nyo, di ba? So the same year po, so gaano po kalaki yung production natin ng rice?
So for palay production in 2016, for palay production in 2016, it was 17,627,245. 2017, it increased to 19,276,347. And if we go to 2020, masyadong maliit lang po yung increase from 19,276,000. It became 19,294,856. 2022, 19,756,392. And 2023, 20,059,562. That's the local production, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Okay. So dito po dun sa importation at saka yung sa production, so makikita natin kung sa ratio po, mas malaki yung ratio per year as to the production ng ating mga palay. So yun po sinasabi natin. Kasi sinasabi nyo nga aspiration pa lang, yung sinasabi nga natin doon sa mga problema natin, dapat ay pag-igihin pa natin yung domestic agri-production, yung support sa ating mga magsasaka. At
Yes,
saka, ito
Mr.
po, ano, nung 2023, Mr. Speaker, in the Global Hunger Index, Philippines ranked 66th out of 125.
Hunger Index.
So, sa gutom, no? 44.7% ng population faces moderate to severe food insecurity according to FAO in 2023. And from that, 29% of children are affected by stunted growth. So, ang ibig sabihin, ano, despite na marami tayong, ano, no, ito, halimbawa, sinasabi natin, nasagana tayo sa bigas or meron din tayong production, pero nakakaranas pa rin ng, ano, no, ng gutom, kahit na yung ating mga maliit na, ano, no, yung ating mga kabataan.
Admittedly, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, the impact of climate change is actually posing not only a challenge but also a threat to the agricultural sector. That is why part of their desire is to make our country and our agricultural sector resilient to the impact of climate change. And that includes changing the schedule of planting season to answer to the changing seasons in the current times.
Yes, pero sa nabasa kong article, list lang yan doon sa impact noong ating mga agricultural products. Ang problema talaga natin ay to boot or not boosting the domestic agricultural production. So, yun yung nakita natin na number one na solution, no, para maiwasan natin itong ano, no, itong mga sinasabi natin na global hunger index, etc.
Yes, we submit and we admit, we concur with that, Mr. Speaker. In addition to that are the post-harvest facilities that are badly needed and the storage facilities.
Okay, so marami na kasing nasabi, no, tungkol doon sa problema ng pagtulong, ayuda sa ating mga farmers. Kapag lumibot ka nga po sa iba't ibang lugar sa ating ano, no, sa ating lugar, sa ating bansa, hindi naman yung ano primarily yung ayuda, yung primarily sa kanila, kundi yung talagang magtuloy-tuloy ano yung kanilang production, magtuloy-tuloy yung kanilang trabaho. So dito lang natin talaga masusustain yung ano natin ano, yung eto nga yung food stability tsaka sustainability. So tuloy-tuloy na trabaho ng ating mga magsasaka.
We concur, Mr. Speaker.
Well, sa bahagi po ng fisheries. So, sa bahagi ng fisheries po, ano, meron ba tayong data, Mr. Speaker, on the fisheries naman? So, ilang metric ton po yung ating ini-import? The same period na lang siguro, 20 to 24.
On fisheries, Mr. Speaker, for 2023, the imported
Fish.
imported seafood is only pegged at 1.4% compared to the total demand. Local production is actually 4,260,623.91 metric tons, while the import is pegged at around 500,000 metric tons.
So, sinasabi natin na mas marami pa rin tayong nakukuhang
Local production. Definitely,
mga
Mr.
fish
Speaker.
doon sa ating mga, maybe it's in our municipal waters, di ba? And included
Yes,
na ba
Mr.
dyan sa,
Speaker.
included na ba dyan sa inyong data yung sa West Philippine Sea?
It's not yet, well, we have, yes, it's included, Mr. Speaker, because it's part of our exclusive economic zone. So sa mga nangingisda doon, nasama siya sa total seafood production of 4.26 million plus.
So kung
metric
ganyan
tons.
lang kaliit po yung ini-import natin, bakit kailangan natin mag-import? Bakit hindi natin palakasin din yung production ng ating mga seafoods o yung mga fish?
Yeah.
Di po ba? So, ano po ba yung pwedeng pagkuhanan or yung kumbaga kumbaga sa term natin, catch up plan. Kumbaga instead na mag-import, sinasabi niyo maliit lang yung na-import. Pero alam niyo po, Mr. Speaker, pumunta po kayo sa mga palengke ngayon, dominant ang mga imported na mga isda. So kung magtanong ka sa mga magtanong ka sa mga sa palengke dito sa NCR, magtanong ka sa mga marketer o nagtitinda, karamihan pa rin ay imported. So parang katulad din yan ng bigas, Mr. Speaker. Magtanong ka sa mga mamimili sa palengke, karamihan ng mga bigas na tinitinda ay mga imported kaysa doon sa mga local produce. Kaya doon natin na kaya doon ko na nasusukat, Mr. Speaker, kung gaano kalaki talaga or kung ano yung differences ng ini-import natin doon sa sarili nating pinoproduce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the importation is because of the 3-month closed season. Yung hindi tayo pwedeng mangisda kasi pinapayagan natin yung mga isda and seafood na mangitlog muna to give them a breathing space to be able to, it's part of their cycle, to be able to rejuvenate. Precise for us, Mr. Speaker, to say that the Secretary actually issued a banning of galunggong importation from March to September. And what is being imported is commensurate to the demand we have for the 3 months na bawal mangisda para naman i-preserve natin yung year-round production. A very small portion of this that's also imported is for canning purposes. At ito rin yung ibang mga ini-export din natin, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, magkano na ba ngayon ang kilo ng galunggong, Mr. Speaker? So, the last time I checked, parang more than 200. Yung medyo medium size na galunggong. Magkano na ba ngayon? Kasi yung Mr. Speaker, etong mga imported na mga galunggong, lahat halos na nakikita ko ay yung mga galunggong nakikita ko sa palengke, lahat halos ay imported. Malalaki.
200 pesos per kilo, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, imported dyan. Okay,
Sa local ito,
oo, talagang pag nagpunta ka sa palengke, halos lahat ay imported na. But anyway, gusto ko lang i-point dito, Mr. Speaker, medyo malayo-layo pa tayo, kung titignan natin doon sa food stability at saka food security, dahil ito nga may umaasa pa rin tayo, karamihan ng agricultural products, hindi lang rice, fish ay meron pa ring importation. So sana ay mas malaki yung pinoproduce kaysa ini-import natin in terms of agricultural products. Sa rice, meron pong Mr. Speaker, during Marcos Jr. state visit, during the President state visit in January 2024, Philippines and Vietnam signed agreement on rice trade cooperation, incident prevention and management in the South China Sea, agriculture and cultural cooperation. So, tama po ba yun? Noong January 2024?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So, the memo of understanding was among those signed to create a framework for rice cooperation between the Philippines and Vietnam to ensure and establish a sustainable food supply amid the impact of climate change, pandemics, and other events external to both countries. So ano po ba yung nilalaman ng memorandum of agreement in terms of doon sa importation, palitan ng mga products, training, ano po ba yung nilalaman ng MOA na ito, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, we confirm that the existence of such memorandum of agreement, and incorporated in this agreement is a commitment of 1.5 million tons supply of rice if the Philippines would need it. Let's say kunyari binagyo tayo, kung may calamity at biglang natamaan yung ating mga farmers, ibig sabihin meron tayo dong buffer stock na naka-reserve, and that will actually stabilize the price in the Philippines.
Okay, tama po yan, no? Ang binanggit na ating sponsor, Mr. Speaker. Under the MOU, Vietnam agreed on a 5-year trade commitment to supply through its private sector white rice to the Philippines, private sector. So, parang private to private yan. No? Parang magsusupply siya sa private sector, ibig sabihin sa mga private traders na white rice sa private sector natin. So bakit ganon, Mr. Speaker? Hindi ba dahil ito ay government to government, dapat government to government yung supplyan? Bakit private to private? Tapos tayo, yung gobyerno natin, G2G, nakikipag-agree. Diba? O, parang hindi ko makita yung logic. Kasi pag dinala na naman natin to sa private, ibig sabihin nun, malaki na naman yung kita, 'di ba? So bakit ganun ang MOU, Mr. Speaker? Wala ba tayong kakayanan na makipag-trade government to government? Bakit private to private sector at ginagarantiya ng ating gobyerno through this MOU?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the desire of the Philippines is actually to have a government to government procurement. Unfortunately, Vietnam courses their produce and their harvest through GOCCs to the private sector. And it is something that is beyond our control. In the Philippines, the Department of Agriculture, the hands of DA is also tied because they cannot import directly from private companies. Be that as it may, the private to private sale, the protection of the government there is the price is actually regulated.
Why they cannot import? Our government cannot have this agreement with the...
We cannot buy, Mr.
the
Speaker,
government.
from the private entity because Vietnam, government to government cannot, the Department of Agriculture cannot purchase rice. That's not part of their mandate. The NFA can, but it was only for local before. It's only for local. Palay, and it's only palay. And that is the reason why the rice tarification law was put forward in order for our country to have a balancing act. Moreover, meron po tayong problema in terms of supply because Vietnam does not allow their government to sell directly. They only sell to their GOCC and the GOCC partners with private entities. But be that as it may,
Bakit nandiyan pa yung gobyerno, di ba? Ang government sana, kung makikipag G2G siya, mas mura yung makukuha nating bigas. Kung private to private sector, so yung private sector natin dito, so parang wala nang control yung ating gobyerno. So sila yung magbebenta, hindi na yon dadaan dun sa ating gobyerno. Parang
actually, Mr. Speaker,
parang salim-pusa lang yung ating gobyerno diyan. Kasi actually, GOCC private sector ng Vietnam as private sector naman dito sa Pilipinas. Parang hindi ko yun magets, Mr. Speaker, dahil 'di ba kung gusto natin talagang kung gusto nating bumaba yung presyo ng bigas, kasi talong-talo na nga ang mamamayan doon sa yung mga traders na nag-i-import pagdating dito, yung kahit na maliit ang tariff nila o binawasan ang tariff nila, hindi naman sila nagbabawas doon sa presyo. So itong agreement
we agree,
na ito,
Mr. Speaker. Kaya nga, minarapat ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na baguhin ang sistemang ito. And the DA family has a revised RTL, rice tarification law. This is up for signature once the President signs this law that will now allow our DA to import directly, cutting and bypassing the traders through a system that will actually that encompasses safety mechanisms because the price will be regulated.
well, I don't think totoo ba yan? Kasi 5 years nga ito 5 years
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it's just awaiting the signature of the
Sasabihin
President.
natin, bigla na lang ninyong babaguhin dahil tingin natin ay yung yung business model na naman na ganito, private to private, tapos gagarantihan ng ating ng ating gobyerno. So, ibig sabihin, pwede nyo rin baguhin itong MOU na pinirmahan noong January 2024 o pwedeng i-revise?
That's the beauty of the review mechanism, Mr. Speaker, because upon review, nakita nga na ito ang naging problema, na hindi natin mapababa ang presyo ng bigas dahil kailangan tayong dumaan sa mga traders or intermediaries. With that discovery, the President is now awaiting. It's up for his signature and definitely it will be signed by the President kasi ang hinaingan nila is mapababa ang presyo by the government importing directly.
Okay. So, sige, I think baka may mabago dyan, ano, pero di po tayo aasa dyan. So, yung Vietnam exported 1.4 million tons of rice to the Philippines as of May 23, 2024. Tapos, Vietnam rice exports to the Philippines is 3.13. So, ang ibig sabihin, itong 3.13 na ito ay galing sa Vietnam kasi yung 2023 ay 3.5. So, sa agreement, 3.13, with the private sector traders natin dito, nag-import ng 3.13 through this agreement or MOU. Tama po ba yon, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the 1.5 million tons is the minimum guarantee that Vietnam will supply us because as the situation points, Malaysia, Indonesia, all other countries are importing rice. And we don't want a situation wherein there is a calamity and we will run out of rice and we have no buffer stock, so much so that we are forced to get from the third market, making the cost of price expensive.
Yes, oo. Pero sabi dito sa data, Vietnam's rice exports to the Philippines in 2023 is already 3.13 million tons. Kaya nga po tinanong ko, ilan po ba yung importation natin from year 2020? And lumalabas po sa 2024, merong more than 3 million metric tons. So, ang ibig sabihin, itong mga importation natin, galing ito doon sa private sector ng Vietnam.
Yeah. So, Mr. Speaker, that is correct. And that is the figure in 2023. And that is why the move of our government is to peg it at a minimum of 1.5 million metric tons because the Philippines is also considering getting from other sources. Kasi mahirap yung nakatali tayo sa isang bansa. We cannot be totally dependent on Vietnam for rice importation. We need to diversify our sources so that we will have a better price leveraging mechanism.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, naintindihan ko yon. Pero yung sa binigay niyong data sa akin ng importation, 2024 is 3.5 or 2024, ngayon, 2024, 3 million metric tons. Eh dito sa data ay 3.13 million na nga. So, ang ibig sabihin, mas marami pa doon yung ini-import natin. At hindi totoo na ganito lang yung ini-import natin for the last 5 years.
Yes, that's
Parang mali yung binigay na data sa atin, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor.
yeah, the data that you have, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, is the total importation. And primarily the source is Vietnam because 82% of rice imports are coming from Vietnam. We intend to diversify it because we also have a big market in Thailand, Myanmar, and even Pakistan.
Okay, so ang akin pong masasabi dito, Mr. Speaker, mas marami pa no na tayong ini-import. Maliban dun sa sinabi po ng ating distinguished sponsor from the data of the DA. Kasi kung 82% lang ito nung importation natin, ay kulang yung data na ibinigay sa atin. Okay? Next topic, Mr. Speaker, na nabanggit kasi sa isang parang ads o report nagsalita si Secretary na kulang pa tayo ng farm to market road. Okay? Kulang pa daw sa farm to market road kaya kailangan nating bilisan yung ating mga farm to market road. So, meron na ba kayong inventory ng farm to market road until now? So, kasi sinasabi ng secretary na kailangan talaga nating pabilisin yung yung mobilization ng products. So, kailangan natin ng farm to market road projects. So,
Yes,
meron ba
Mr.
tayong
Speaker.
inventory po nitong mga farm to market roads sa buong Pilipinas? At ilan po ang kulang na sinasabi ni Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we have an updated inventory. So the FMR requirement of the Philippines to cater to the 14 million hectares of production area is 131,410.66 kilometer. And each kilometer actually covers 110 hectares. The completed FMR as of June 30, 2024 is 68,122.46 kilometer. And our backlog is 63,288.20 kilometers.
Okay, can you provide this representation of that data po?
Willingly, Mr. Speaker, that actually transcends to 949 billion pesos if we compute it at 15 million pesos per kilometer.
Okay, last topic na Mr. Speaker. Kanina kasi medyo mainit yung usapan doon sa irrigation ng NIA. At sinasabi po ng ating mga kababaihang magsasaka, no? Tinatanong nila, sino ba talaga yung nakikinabang sa libreng patubig ng NIA? Kasi lumalala ang privatization ng dams at tanging pribadong negosyo lang at mga dayuhan lang yung nakikinabang dito sa NIA. Sinasabi natin may mga maliliit na NIA, may mga maliliit na irrigation, no? Pero yung iba nga, katulad ng sinabi ni Kong Dagook, ay hindi naman tama talaga, no? Hindi naman talaga totoo na may mga irrigation doon. Meron ba tayong meron tayong inventory additional to the 12 na binanggit natin kanina kay Kong Dagook, meron tayo ng mga maliliit na irrigation project. So meron po ba tayo nung ganun?
Yes,
At
Mr. Speaker.
Ilan po yung kailangan pa natin sa inventory?
I'm reminding Honorable Franz.
Yes.
Please.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
That
wala po
is my last
tayong,
question.
just to answer the first query of the Honorable Franz Castro, wala po tayong pinaprivatize na tubig. But the power or the electricity component of some irrigation systems are being privatized. Now, our need for...
Wala pong privatize. Sinasabi ko lang, parang mas nakikinabang yung mga pribadong sektor kaysa yung mga maliliit nating negosyante. No? Dahil dito sa, ito, yung mga dams natin na kinikreate. Pero just the same, can you submit, Mr. Speaker, nung
We will
ating mga
comply,
projects?
Mr. Speaker. We will
So,
comply.
that's it, Mr.